My girlfriend's 23 female friend kissed me 24 male, but she's threatening to tell her something else if I say anything. I'm at a loss on what to do. She kissed me in the hallway of my friend's home last night when we were all drinking. My girlfriend had just gotten off work, so she wasn't there yet. When I told her I was going to inform my girlfriend, she freaked out, and she said she'd tell her I pressed myself up against her to kiss and grope her. She had a solemn expression, as in, she will claim I attempted worse on her, in which case my GF would not believe me since it was just the two of us in the hallway. Everyone else had gone downstairs. I'm so sorry I didn't tell my GF anything when she arrived, and I'm still thinking about it the following morning. I want to be honest about what her best buddy did, but I'm afraid she'll blame me. Update. The previous few days have been insane. For one thing, my partner is aware. She was taken aback, but I told her everything. Not just about what she did, but also about her threat to lie about my doing worse, which is why I was terrified to inform her. I was also concerned about how my partner might respond. She was taken aback and perplexed. She acted as though she wanted to weep. Then I found out something was wrong. This isn't the first time her best buddy has done something like this, but the last time she did it, it was with her high school ex-boyfriend. Only her buddy informed her that the man kissed her. My lady, on the other hand, trusted her buddy, which is why he's now an ex. She burst into tears. We embraced some more and spoke some more. Then everything became frantic. Her now former buddy decided to follow through on her threat. I told my girlfriend a different story in which I pushed myself on her. I allegedly covered her lips and attempted to her, but she managed to push me away and joined the rest of them. Only my girlfriend didn't accept her nonsense, and they got into a massive argument. Obviously, we were no longer friends, and my girlfriend was upset. I hated seeing her in such pain. I wish this hadn't had to happen. To make matters worse, she kept her promise and lied to all of our friends about what had transpired. She made herself a victim. And I informed them that my girlfriend is siding with a rapist against her own pal. Seriously, it was insane. My girlfriend was taken aback. That made her feel even worse. Our friends had texted her continuously about what a jerk she is, that I'm a monster, and that she should file a police complaint, which she was preparing to do since that's what she told her cousins. That lasted a few days. But that was so foolish because if anything like that occurred, why wouldn't she inform someone straight away? At least some of our partygoers didn't appear to believe her claim. Not all of them, but at least some of them. We'd had enough of this nonsense. My girlfriend went over to her place and persuaded her to acknowledge the lie. I'm not sure how she achieved it. It required a lot of talking, according to my girlfriend. She also discovered several flaws in her falsehoods. Then, an hour later, she received a text message from her, apologizing for spreading the falsehoods. She also asked if they could discuss since she doesn't want their friendship to end this way. Yeah, she doesn't want their friendship to end like that after kissing me without my permission, lying about an attack, and making my girlfriend seem like the bad person as well. It's insane. To be honest, it all sapped us. My partner was in a good mood, and I felt horrible for her. I tried to be there for her, holding her and telling her how much I loved her whenever she sobbed. We didn't want to do anything for Thanksgiving because of everything, so we came here for the final 2 days to stay at a hotel near the ocean and forget about everything. She's still grieving the loss of someone she believed she could rely on. I'm heartbroken for my daughter. I'm hoping things will improve now that she's gone. Story 2. I, 20 female, am pregnant and my estranged stepmom, 45 female, wants to be involved. My mother came out after my parents' divorce and began dating a friend of hers. The fact that my mom is a lesbian is not a problem for me. The problem is that her spouse and she were domineering and abusive throughout my adolescence. My mother and I are now on speaking terms and have formed a relationship. I worked hard to mend in order for our relationship to progress to this point. When my brother was 9 years old, he moved out and into the house of another family member. I didn't feel guilty till I was 16 years old. I snapped after my mom's partner, wrapped her hands around my neck, and tried to drag me to my room, all because my brother refused to take a picture with my mom, and I defended him. I believe in bodily autonomy. He shouldn't have to do anything, especially with someone who abused him, all while my mom stood there watching. I collected my belongings and didn't speak to them again until their wedding in 2019. In the last year, my mother and I have rekindled our friendship. I'm expecting my first kid and live on the other coast for my folks. Obviously, I've been on my own for some time. I informed my mother I was pregnant and asked her not to tell anybody, since I was still in my first trimester and worried about miscarrying. Whatever, she informed her boyfriend, but then my acquaintance, who lived in my hometown, said, "Hey, your stepmom is telling everyone you're pregnant and that she'll be a grandmother. Is this correct?" I burst out laughing. I questioned my mother about the situation, and she denied that her boyfriend informed anybody about it. She then went on a tirade about how her spouse is like a parent to me and wants to be engaged in the lives of her grandson. She even asked me to return to therapy so that I might forgive my stepmother. She also claims she has no clue why I left her house or why I don't speak of her spouse. She also makes fun of the fact that I sometimes text my father's wife. She, on the other hand, did not physically assault me. To my mother, it is also anticipated that I be the first to contact my stepmother. Here's the deal. I don't consider her a parent. I don't want her in my baby's life, and I can't forgive her, but I'm okay with my mother being there in my child's life. How can I tell my mother without completely hurting her and demeaning her parenting, or is there no other way to go about it other than ripping the Band-Aid off? Should I, on the other hand, be more open to the notion of establishing a relationship with her? I despise her guts so much that just writing about them makes me anxious. I really don't want to lose my mother to her wife again. Edit. I simply want to state unequivocally that I would never leave my kid alone with any of my parents. This is something I've known since I was 12 years old, before I ever considered having children. Update. My mother and her wife, who have been in my life for the last 13 years. I simply wanted to express that everyone was completely correct. I intended to inform my mother quickly after my first post that neither she nor her wife will be part of my child's life. Unfortunately, my boyfriend and I were forced to make the difficult choice to return to my hometown. We had to pack up and go as soon as possible, but we couldn't locate accommodation immediately away. My mother was attempting to rebuild our connection, so I accepted her offer to let us remain in her house while we looked for an apartment. My so seemed upbeat about everything and attempted to tell me that everything will be okay. It didn't work. I was making supper in the kitchen 2 days ago when So asked if we might broil the salmon at the end to make it more golden. My mother called out from another room, informing me that their oven would not go past 400 degrees, the broiler would not operate, and the fire alarm would sound. "Oh, why?" I said, perplexed. I set it to 450 and had no idea. Her wife then began ranting and cursing at me, claiming that she didn't understand why I was insulting her. I informed her I was ready to decline, and she proceeded to chastise me. So simply smiled and laughed awkwardly. He couldn't figure out why she was so upset over an oven that hadn't even started heating up. She started encouraging him to be violent and chastising him for stating we hadn't done anything about the home. He could suck according to her. That's fantastic. Just so you know. We clean our room on a regular basis, never leave it. I had just cleaned our bathroom, and we take up one cubby in the kitchen. We also thoroughly cleaned their carpets since they were covered with cat urine and vomit. We were actively looking for a home and working. We knew we weren't being impolite guests, even if we hadn't intended on staying for 6 weeks. My mother said we may remain with her for as long as we needed. She ejected us. All the time my mother said absolutely nothing, as she usually does. She had been attempting to organize my baby's shower earlier that day. My mother-in-law attempted to run directly into me and shouted at me to move as we were walking to our vehicles outside. I had the impression she wanted me to physically react since she was so near to me for no apparent reason. I didn't, of course. I'm not crazy. I'm 21 now, 5 months pregnant, and officially homeless, with no idea how we're expected to manage this while still preparing for a kid. At this point, I'm just thankful she didn't put her hands on me again and that we had water on hand. I should never have given it a chance, but we were desperate, and things were tough with COVID and the housing crisis. Please, don't be cruel to me. I've already been berating myself for not knowing. Allow this to be a life lesson for me. The abusive person will continue to be abusive to you. Don't give them a second opportunity. Thank you for your nice comments. Wishes and awards. I wasn't anticipating anything like this. I joined Reddit because I wanted additional support throughout my pregnancy that I couldn't obtain in person. So thank you very lot. My mother, on the other hand, is fully aware that she will never see me, my kid, or my adolescent brother. She doesn't mind since she has her wife. The lines are quite distinct, and she still doesn't seem to get it. Many of you have inquired about living with my father. We don't have a close enough connection for that, nor does he have the space, but he does assist when he can, such as letting me be on their insurance. It's very lovely. We've gone to all of the programs we're eligible for and scheduled interviews for them, while staying at the Aired So Much Wanted, and we have a backup plan that involves traveling back across country to where we know. We have a home to rent via a family member. Our baby and having a secure environment for her will always be our top priorities. We shall be polite, caring, and supportive parents. I'll be the greatest mother I can be, and perhaps, after we're established in, I'll be able to go to counseling. Thank you all once again.